All right, how you doing today? My name is rc11. Today I will be showing you how to, or making a tutorial on how to prepare your fog server to install Office, Microsoft Office, and be able to deploy that out as a snap-in. Okay. There's several steps that we're going to go through today. So without further explanation, let's go ahead and get right into it. So the first thing we're going to do, if you haven't already done so, is we are going to modify our fog server. Okay. And in modifying our fog server, what we have to do is take a couple of steps. So we can do this several ways, and here's the file in which I'm going to use to copy and paste to show you how. Now, I prefer to use TeamViewer to modify my server for most things, although sometimes I will load up and use Putty, but I'm not as good at the command line stuff per se, though I am okay, you know. I just don't, I'm not a fan of stuff like Vim and things of that nature, so I prefer to use the built-in terminal. So with that said, what we're going to do is we're going to load up our fog server, regardless of whatever distribution you just may be using. I'm not really sure, okay? And what we're going to do is we're going to load up terminal, okay? Once we load up terminal, we're going to type in a couple of things. So in this case, I'm going to copy and paste because that's easier for me, and you'll be able to, I'm going to give you a second so that you can visualize and see the command that must be run. You can write it down or do as I have done and take it down myself in a notepad form and then copy and paste it into the terminal. Once you type it in, it's going to ask for your password. Your PHP file will then come up. Once your PHP file come up, we're going to be looking for three things, okay? We're going to be looking for the memory limit, the post max size, and the upload max file size. If you notice here, all three of them are the same size. And this is the basic principle that we're going to apply when it comes to uploading, editing this PHP file. So what we're going to do is we're going to scroll down and look for memory limit. And take your time because, well, there's no need in rushing. So as you can see, memory limit, I set mine to 10 gigs, and that represents that 10,000 M, okay? So that's 10 gigs, okay? Then we're going to look for post max size. So we'll go down to post max size. And as you can see, I made that 10,000 M as well. Okay. Then we're going to go to upload max file size. So as you can see, I made upload max file size 10,000 M. Once you make yours, whatever size you're going to make it, then you hit save, you close out of it, okay? As is referenced here, you then will type or copy and paste, as I am doing, this command into terminal, which is going to restart your terminal server. So once you restart, your PHP file, your Apache server, okay, your Apache server. So once you do that, it's going to restart it, and you should be able to boot in, okay, and you should be able to now look at snap-ins, and if you list all snap-ins, and I don't know, say we'll look at Firefox, Say you look at the snap-in max size, you'll see that the snap-in max size is now 10,000 megabytes or 10 gigabytes. So it works quite well. Okay. Now what we're going to do is we're going to get to preparing the Office part of this tutorial, and in doing so I'm going to show you what will hopefully make it easy for you to deploy Office, be it at your home or office, be it small or big or corporation, whatever have you. Another thing to note is you must make sure that your Office install is a clean Office install. When it comes to a lot of custom installers, like this one right here, when you run it, it's going to come up with, multiple I'll show you. Like when you have an installer like this, where when you run it, it comes up with multiple options, which it didn't work, and I'm sorry for that, because I already have Office installed on this machine. However, when you have Office installations and they have, other Office attachments to them, they typically don't work. You want to make sure that your ISO is clean. So with that said, what you do is you go down here, you go to run, whatever's in there, you can take out the setup file. You simply take, hold it down, drag it into the run prompt. Okay. What you then do is click on it, go to the very end of the file, hit space, /admin. Now, as you can see, the only thing that's here is Microsoft Office Professional Plus 2013 32-bit. If you use some of them custom installed DVDs that someone has repacked or whatnot, it may have this, and then I don't know what the other Office programs is. I forget. Those typically have problems when you come to using the customization tool, and I'm not really sure why. So you might want to make sure that if you're going to use one of those files that you don't use it and use just a clean one like this one, where it's just the Office installer itself. So you then load up the Microsoft Office customization tool, or OCT, whatever you want to call it. You then go through the setup. Okay, here I'm just going to type in tutorial. You can name yours obviously whatever you want to name it. I'm going to use KMS, or I could use a key, as I have one of those as well, but for the purposes of this tutorial I'm just going to use KMS. If you have a key, you just click on key and you type your key in here. Okay, you then accept the user agreement, or the user license agreement, the ULA. You then want to go to none. Your display level has to be silent anytime you use or you are deploying any type of program in fog. It must be a silent installer. Okay, no graphical input. You then hit suppress modal and cancel. Okay, and then what you're going to do is you go through these prompts. I like to remove earlier versions of Office. Some people, they don't care if they have different versions of Office on their computer, and that's fine. That's what you want to do. I like to remove mine. Office, you can go through the different features. You can then decide what you want to install. I like to click run all from my computer. That way I don't have to go back and install stuff and find disk and stuff. It's already all there. A lot of this stuff is for those really, really great programmers out there. I am not one. I just know enough to get the job done, I'd say. So this is for adding accounts and Outlook and different things of that nature. So once you have it how you want, what you can do is hit save as. Okay, and once you hit save as, what you're going to do is you're going to create a name for the snap-in, and you're going to go to the appropriate Office install DVD that you have extracted the files from. Okay, you're going to go to the updates folder, and then what you're going to do is you're going to name that file. I just named mine Office 13. Okay, and that's going to be the name of the MSP file. So it's going to create that MSP file. Okay, so we'll let it create that. All right, now that that file is created, we'll shut down the MOCT. Okay, and the reason why you want to put that MSP file in the updates folder, as you can see right here, is that if you open up the README in a clean extracted ISO of Microsoft Office, be it 2003 up to 2016, it will make it known that any patches placed in this folder will be applied during install. So all of these items are going to be applied or installed the way that this installer tells it to once we zip it all up. Okay. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go and we're going to take all these files right here. We're going to right click, and if you have WinRAR, I suggest you use it. We're going to add to archive. We're going to make it a zip installer, and then what I like to do is I like to rename mine with a more practical name. It's not necessary for it to be too big, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep mine in Office 2013. Okay, so we zip it on up. It's going to zip up, and while that's zipping up, I'll come back when that's done. All right, so that file has zipped up now. Okay, and sorry about that. Had a bit of a snafu. Okay, that file has zipped up, as you can see it right here. And now what we are going to do is upload this file to our FOG server. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to go, if this is your login, we're going to go here to the snapin management. We're going to go to create a new snapin. Okay. What we're going to do, let's call it Office 13x86. There can be no space in the name. It's going to be a snapin pack, being as zipped. Just Office. You don't have to put anything there really. We're going to use the XA template. Okay. You don't have to supply any arguments because the MSP file you created is going to supply all the arguments that are needed for Office to install in this case. Okay. So, and as you can see again, we can upload a file size that is 10 gigs in size on this FOG server. So we're going to choose the file. We're going to navigate to it, and we are going to click it so that now the server knows to update it. Now, something to note, all you have to do is just type in setup.exe, because inside of that archive there is no other folder that is being referenced. If I load up the archive, there's no other folder being referenced. It's just to open Microsoft Office files and then the setup.exe. However, let's say there was a folder called Office, and then inside of that folder were these installation files. You would then have to edit this to say, okay, that's fine, Office, and then, you know, setup.exe. However, and I spelled Office wrong, sorry. However, you don't have to do that because of that. So just remember, you know, if it's inside a folder, you have to reference each folder that it's inside of to the executable of the file. And I hope that made sense to you. So with that said, we now have everything that we need filled out. It's a snap-in pack because it's zipped up, and we're going to add it to the FOG server. So I will come back when that file is added to the fog server. Okay, so we are back, and you can see that the snap-in has been successfully added to the fog server. Um, don't quote me on this, but if I'm remembering properly and if I understand based upon other tutorials properly, this hash is like a security feature, but I don't really know much about it. But I do know that, and I'll show you later on in the tutorial, that it does, there is like a security certificate that is installed by the fog client on each computer that client resides on. So don't forget that in order for a lot of these things to properly work, you must go here and download the fog client onto the computer that you want the snap-in to deploy on. Okay, so make sure that you install that client on that computer, and that you make sure that client talks to your fog server through the IP address of the setup installer. So I wanted to make sure that we reference that. Okay, so with that said, what we're going to do now is we're going to go to host management. Okay, we're going to list our host, and we're going to go to the host that we're going to test today for that Office install. And I'm going to show you how to be able to tell if in fact an installer is installing the way that it is supposed to. So what you're going to do is you're going to go to whatever computer it is that you want to install that snap-in. You're going to go to snap-ins to see what snap-ins you have available. And right now it doesn't look like we have the Office 2013 snap-in available. So what I want to do is, and what you want to do is, you want to click here to see what snap-ins can be added. So what you do is you click this, and if you look through your list of snap-ins, you'll see, oh, there it is, Office 1386. It was created today. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to click that, and I'm going to add that snap-in. Once that snap-in is added, I now want to deploy it. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Basic Task. I'm going to go to Advanced. I'm then going to go to Single Snap-in. And in this snap-in box, I'm going to find that snap-in that I want to deploy, which is the Office 13 x86. Okay? I'm going to create that snap-in task. Okay? So we see that that task was created successfully. So in order to make sure that everything's on the up and up, I always look at the task management, and I see now that everything's on the up and up. So what I've done is I've already created a shortcut to my Ethernet on the desktop, and what I like to do is go to status when I'm testing a snap-in that I just newly created, and you'll see these. You see these numbers going up or received. You see that? What you can also do to see how things are going is you can load up a folder. You can go to this PC, go to your C drive, go to Program Files, x86 of your program files, go to the fog folder, go to your temp folder, and what you're going to see, you see that's a security certificate. I believe that has something to do with the hash, but you can also see that Office 2013 folder extracting. Now, what you can do is load up Task Manager. And when it loads up, what you're going to see is the fog client is working. It's working, and it's getting that file to you. Now, once everything is verified and it goes through the process it needs to go through, what you're going to see is a prompt down in your lower right hand corner from the fog client telling you, hey, you have Office installing, or whatever program it is installing. Okay, and with Office specific, you're going to see the Microsoft Office Bootstrap come up. Okay, so let's just sit here and wait for that, and then we'll move forward. on your physical machine, your machine will run much faster. And as you can see, the Microsoft Bootstrap just came up and it just prompted you that it's installing. And what you're going to see is you're going to see this Microsoft Bootstrap, or it's going to be working. And you see the Office Source Engine working as well. So it's getting things together. And then once it's done getting things together, the Microsoft Setup Bootstrapper is going to kick in and it's going to install Office. Office has installed, and let's see what we got here. Office 2013, we go to all programs, it's installed. If we click it, it will load up. It works. And that is how you install Microsoft Office as a snap-in. And this works for every version of Office. I have tried it with everything from Office 2003 up to now. I admit I have not tried Office XP, but I really don't see why you would deploy that at this stage of the game. However, I'm sure it will work with it, as all offices work off the same principle. And I hope that this tutorial works for you. If there's any issues, do not hesitate to contact me or any of the moderators at the FOG Forum. And I am not to be confused with the moderators, as I am not one. I'm just a standard user that goes there for help. But I like to contribute to that community because that community contributes to me. Have a good day.